Thank you very much, Senator Murray. And let me just say to you, I think your service gives new meaning to the concept of playing a tough hand. The fact is, this has gone on and on. You have been given mission impossible, and in fact, by tomorrow night, we are going to be on our way because we're going to get started, and I commend you for it. Colleagues, I think all of us know that while this is exceptionally complicated stuff, in one respect, this is not rocket science because we know what the two issues are that are keeping us from getting to a significant bipartisan agreement. One of them is taxes, and the other is Medicare. And I would just like to spend a couple of minutes on each of them. We got 5 minutes, just take a couple of minutes on each. The fact is that the tax system in America is a broken, dysfunctional mess. And most importantly, it doesn't bring certainty, the one thing that businesses and consumers want in a growing economy. What the code's pipes do is basically encourage rent-seeking behaviors, lead to the misallocation of capital, and warp the economy. And nothing illustrates that more clearly than what we saw in last week's article on the front of the New York Times. I touched on it with respect to the abuse that we're now seeing in bond finance. We think of bond finance, and particularly the tax exemption, for matters like helping roads and bridges and benefits to a broad swath of our society. What we've got instead are billions going out to essentially subsidize skyscrapers. That's the kind of thing every one of us ought to be willing to support as part of the effort to bring about tax reform, and this budget provides the space for us to do it. I'd also note that having been involved in this now for more than 6 years, with two very thoughtful Republicans, the specific sponsors, Senator Gregg and now Senator Coates, Senator Begich and I are convinced that it is possible for us to build a bipartisan coalition and initiate tax reform where we can take away the tax breaks for shipping jobs overseas, use them to incent more red, white, and blue jobs in America, and do it in a bipartisan way. And the fact is, it's been done before. Democrats and Ronald Reagan did it in the 80s. I think now our challenge is to step forward and do it once more. Let me turn to the question of Medicare. We have seen progress in the last year, year and a half in terms of health care costs. But I think everyone understands what the demographic tsunami is all about. So the question is, how do we hold down Medicare costs while still protecting, and I want to use these words explicitly, what we think of as the Medicare guarantee. That's what Medicare is, a guarantee of secure benefits. I think it's possible to do that. And let me just touch on 3 areas where, again, I think we can have bipartisan support. There's considerable interest in combining Medicare A and Medicare B. Medicare A, of course, is the hospital portion. Medicare B is the outpatient portion. I think it's possible to do this in a way that will protect seniors from out-of-pocket costs on their Medicare while saving money in the program. So I think that's one area we ought to look at. A second one, again, where there are bipartisan roots, is reforming the chronic care system where most of the Medicare dollar is going. And again, there's a chance to save money while helping seniors because I think we ought to work together for the first time to put a cap, a catastrophic cap for Medicare for all seniors. And millions of them do not have any protection from catastrophic costs, and I think that's overdue. Finally, I want to commend my colleague, Senator Grassley, because he has been the champion of transparency. And the Medicare database, which is the one place where you can go out and find out, patients and families could find out what physicians and providers are actually getting reimbursed for. So we would work together to root out fraud, promote efficiency. It is actually precluded from the public because of a court case. And Senator Grassley, it's been a privilege to team up with you on that area. I think that's going to be good for Medicare, for the patients, for families, and taxpayers. 3 areas, colleagues, that will help patients hold down costs and make sense for reforming the program. One last point, if I might, Madam Chair. Our colleague, Senator Sessions, talked about reforms in government. I would only say that I think we all know, having served on this committee, that the budget doesn't let us get into all of these details. All we have in the budget is an opportunity for a blueprint. So the Finance Committee and other committees are going to write the details of much of what we are talking about here. What is appealing to me is that this budget provides the space now. The space, particularly in those two critical areas, taxes and Medicare, for us to come together and use this debate, use what we're doing here in the committee to push the ball down the road, recognizing that you, Senator Sessions, and our chair, Senator Murray, there are limits to what we can do other than offer a big blueprint. I think this blueprint gives us a chance in the two biggest areas that have confounded the parties that are so important for our country to move forward. Thank you, Madam Chair.